Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, but we should have audio back. So I'll just do a really, God willing, like 1 minute recap for those that didn't hear. Having certainty about the hereafters is such a huge blessing. So we should use every opportunity for to our material blessings, to strive in the cause of God and to remember God and to be thankful. Having the truth and observing our contact prayers and exhorting people and fellow submitters to uphold righteousness, as well as non-submitters too. We can give them the message and in the best possible way. And of course, there's no compulsion, and this is actually attracts people, when you aren't forceful. And of course, in Surah 104, briefly talked about, backbiting and slandering. We have to be so careful not to do this ourselves. It's as abominable as eating the flesh of your dead brother. Which is very gross, and it's in the sense of its magnitude. We don't want to have any traits, really. We want to have zero traits of like the disbelievers and idol worshippers. We want to look at the Quran and strive to have all the traits of the righteous and the submitters and the ones that gain approval from God. And we can see how scary. They're people who hoard money, and what the devastator is, how hell is specifically called such a name. It's the most devastating thing you can think of, And I think even in this worldly life, we're given examples about. If you just think of being confined in a claustrophobic space like extended columns, there's examples, you can look on of catastrophes or accidents that happen in real life to humans, where like they're trapped in a sewer pipe for a couple of days. Workers that literally a pipe that's only a couple feet wide, and they're in there for days, like they're awake. And then eventually they die. Like, these are real things. Like, on Fatal Breakdown, you can go on YouTube. If you look at the comments, like, people are devastated. Like, they say, this is the worst nightmare. I've seen these comments, Like, this is the most horrific thing I can imagine. If people have no idea, what they're... this is... And that's just in this world, Remember, all these things are allegorical. So... as bad as that would be, even if that was someone's hell for eternity, that would be like, you would imagine that would be the worst of the worst of the worst. But it's not even that. It's going to be exponentially worse to our work. That should help us in the sense of, put a good, sensible fear into people. Especially to submitters, and to see what we're up against, what type of position we're in, why we have to do as much as possible for the soul, why we have to strive and spend in the cause of God where we can, and we can't, there's the saying, we can't be too careful, like just even in the smallest way, and to really be appreciative for God, because I think, it's such a huge thing, is there's the two, disbeliever and the believer, and then the unappreciative and the appreciative. Because we can see just the verses we just read that the ones who forget the blessings of their Lord, or use their blessings and didn't think about God, or hoarded their money, or hoarded, if it's not money, hoarded materials, or this and that. It's all temporary. Even these temporary illusions that disbelievers are enjoying is from God, so they fail to glorify the one that created them, that gives them their eyesight, that they just magically wake up feeling refreshed every day. What a blessing. Because, try doing without it too. Sometimes putting ourselves, honestly, I think it's important for us to know the alternative, to, like, in a sense, that's why we're going through this test, but to to put ourselves in situations like either mentally or vicariously or without these things, so we can, really be appreciative, because it's in the human being's nature to take things for granted, and especially we see so many people, on an average basis, completely oblivious and averse to God, or just forgetting why they're here, why we came here, why me and you and everybody listening is here, and we have to remember what our purpose is, what our goal, our priorities should be. This is like the most important thing ever, and because we're only here, we're just when we die, like our body dies and we pass on, we're only going to feel like we've been here for part of a day, like just according to what the Quran has been saying. There's I think the disbeliever or something is another part where in Surah 20 maybe they'll say, yeah, I think it's Surah 20. They'll say they were here for 10 days or something, but it's not even that. It said the most accurate among them will say, I think it's like for a day or part of a day. And then there's other parts too on top of that. So, what's that? That's, just like half the day is gone already, so, working hard to redeem ourselves is gonna, inshallah, God will see our efforts and forgive us. That's what we have to work on attaining. Surah 105, the elephant, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Have you noted what your Lord did to the people of the elephant? Did he not cause their schemes to backfire? He sent upon them swarms of birds that showered them with hard stones. He made them like chewed up hay. Alhamdulillah. So, even, everything is submitting to God, but even these cool, even these birds, were sent, as a retribution for what people, the elephant, maybe they had elephants they were using to, which armies have used in the past, I think. I don't know which ones exactly. You can even see some movies and stuff how people entrap these elephants and put a lot of decorative armor or just stuff on them, and then they use them to oppress people or go attack people and fight, in wars with them. Of course, like maybe, but anyway, yeah, these people were the same. These are, generations and communities of people that were transgressors and oppressors, of course, and they got what they had coming to them, and probably in the least unexpected way, because who would think that a stone could fall out the sky or a rock? Like that's even right now, you would have to have somebody throw it up, and then, so what I'm saying, this is good also in the sense that, it's easy for God to do, however he chooses to annihilate these people, even, we could see all these different ways how people, transgressors, were annihilated. So it's the same in this age, people's money can't save them, even if they, try to escape the retribution, or like we read earlier about how people think that their money's going to make them immortal somehow. Like it's God created us, he created them, he created the earth, so they're playing a game that they're always going to lose, the transgressors, of course, and the disbelievers. But yeah, just imagine chewed up like hay, when you chew up maybe some, we're not cows, but maybe if we've eaten like, I don't know, tea leaves or something, or we've chewed, or like we're chewing broccoli or something, I don't know, use your imagination. But imagine what, or if you look at just how a cow chews up hay or would spit it out or something, it's very, I mean, that's what these people ended up looking like. So, I mean, obviously they were debased and humiliated. So, Surah 106, Quraysh, the Quraysh tribe, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. This should be cherished by Quraysh the way they cherish the caravans of the winter and the summer. They shall worship the Lord of this shrine, for he is the one who fed them after hunger and provided them with security after fear. So, alhamdulillah, the Quran is, so, yeah, this is, I believe that, this is referring to, the Quran. This Quran should be cherished by Quraysh, who was the Quraysh tribe. So, this is, it's the real blessing. So, of course, the materials and stuff in their nice homes or whatever they had, their caravans and stuff, they can remember God, or they should remember God. Hopefully, they didn't forget God, but in the same way they cherish these materials and stuff, they should cherish a book of profound wisdom and really that has life-saving advice, life-saving wisdom as the best message, and of course, and most importantly, God, to remember God who fed them after hunger and provided them with security after fear. So, I mean, imagine being hungry and living in fear, none of us, God willing, none of us are going through such things, in our lives, but, that's just one thing to be appreciative to God, like having security and not having fear, and then, having food to eat easily too, readily at our disposal. And God is the one who's provides for us, he provides for all of his creatures, so we should use every opportunity to thank him. Surah 107, charity. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Do you know who really rejects the faith? That is the one who mistreats the orphans and does not advocate the feeding of the poor. And woe to those who observe the contact prayers of Allah, who are totally heedless of the prayers. They only show off and they forbid charity. So, the one who really rejects the faith and is one that is going to have traits of a wicked person. You have to be wicked if you mistreat orphans. If you abuse them, or if you're harsh to them, if you're mean to them. These are people that didn't have parents or lost their parent. Everybody has a parent in a sense, but these are people who lost their parents somehow. What if you were in this situation? What if you grew up you have to think about these things, for people. And also, someone who doesn't advocate the feeding of the poor. There's people that do such things, and especially, it's important to look at this part too. People who are totally heedless of their prayers. So if you're worshiping, Muhammad, or you're mentioning Muhammad, where the Quran and God explicitly says, God has no partners and it's God alone. There's no other partners. There's no one to be mentioned with God. We have to, just like in a sense you wouldn't, if you invite, it's not the same if I invite, someone, if I invite someone over to my house, but I tell them to bring their servant with them too, that's not the same as just inviting this person over for dinner, So in the same way, when we're in worshiping God alone, we just worship God, we don't care about anybody else, and so we don't want to nullify our prayers in this sense. Obviously as submitters, and with the mathematical miracle for our generation and future generations, especially, given to at the day and age we live in, confirms all this and lets us know what we have is indeed it's a mercy from God. It's not, it's a reminder and all these things, but it's a mercy and it's a huge blessing to to know to have the right path. Because I mean, imagine you think you're working so hard for a destination, for a good destination, but you're completely, taking the wrong path. Despite all the signs, that are saying, this is the way to redemption or forgiveness or to paradise, but it's a big trap. And Satan is behind all that. Satan will set those signs up for you there, so you think you're on the right path, but I mean, everything that's really God is the only one who guides, and we have to ask Him to help. And also, nullifying, our prayer, and the messenger talked about this, where if you're too embarrassed to pray in front of your friends, or I mean, we see here about showing off. I mean, it's even in the old scripture too, how Jesus said how the hypocrites will go in the public and then make a big whole scene about, I think it's in maybe Matthew or something, but like they make a huge scene, like about, they have to let everybody know, like, and when they give to charity, they're only giving it to impress the people, like, that's why, I mean, we can see, the truth behind, we can see the wisdom behind what is taught to us. So, we have to make sure we're not, we don't fall into these categories, and we, when we're praying, to only remember God. So, Surah 108, bounty in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. We have blessed you with many a bounty. Therefore, you shall pray to your Lord, Salah, and give to charity. Your opponent will be the loser. So yeah, these are the rights of our religion, and things to help us to grow our soul. Surah 109, the disbelievers. Al-Kafirun. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Say, O you disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor do you worship what I worship. To me, nor will I ever worship what you worship, nor will you ever worship what I worship. To you is your religion, and to me is my religion. So this has a footnote. This last surah chronologically consisted of 19 Arabic words. Okay, that's for 110 actually. So that's So yeah, this is what we understand. People who choose to disbelieve. We don't worship what they're worshiping, and they're obviously not worshiping what we're worshiping. They're either worshiping their own egos, they're worshiping themselves, they worship the materials of this world, or they're worshiping some type of idol. I mean, it's all Satan. At the end of the day, it's not just going to be, oh, you're clearly worshiping Satan directly. Like, no, where he gets most people is through. It's not going to be that apparent. So this is something we can tell people. I mean, this is something we're actually told to say to disbelievers. I guess if the circumstances and all that is right for such context and exchange of words to take place, which it's ironic, but I've heard this from somebody, and I mean it makes perfect sense why. Somebody who obviously came really close to the truth and dropped out in a sense, God knows best, of these people's destinies, but we can also see where we're given the criterions in the Quran, where the disbeliever, idol worshiper, their destiny is going to be hell. Especially so we have to make sure we're not, and constantly be on guard. We don't fall into such a category or fall or cohabitate with such people. Because these people, whether they realize it or not, after taking a firm stand, they're enemies of God. Just like the verse that says they're just as hopeless as the people in the graves. Can you help them? No. So that's I think, they're just as hopeless as those stuck in the grave. They're hopelessly stuck in their disbelief. So, are you gonna go befriend people who are, you know, hopelessly stuck in the ground that are, you know, have traded away their hereafter for a cheap price? No, no way. You don't want to be with such people because lest you become like them. You know. Surah 110, Triumph, Al Nasr. So this is the last surah revealed, the one with the footnote. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, when triumph comes from God and victory, you will see the people embracing God's religion in throngs. You shall glorify and praise your Lord and implore him for forgiveness. And he is the Redeemer. The last surah chronologically consists of 19 Arabic words, see 96:1. And the first verse consists of 19 letters. This indicates that this generation of believers shall attain the promised victory. Submission, true Islam will prevail through the world. And that's in Surah 48, Victory, title 28. So, you know, this is right here. This is, alhamdulillah, you know, this is a sign for us. It indicates that, you know, our generation, who received this miracle, as well as the future generations, God willing, that will come to really know it and accept it in its entirety when something catches their attention and catches on, you know, because right now we can see that with all the signs and proofs, you know, that the time is coming closer for the smoke, and it's not going to be too much longer. So striving before the victory is especially good and important, and it's not the same, not at all the same, you know, striving after, because you can see people, you know, people who jump on the bandwagon, obviously is not, they don't have the same level of faith, and I mean, it's good, it's excellent, it's wonderful what they're doing, but to be persecuted in a sense, or mocked or ridiculed, you know, we don't care about that stuff, you know, may God help us, or looked at as crazy or different or whatever, you know, I mean, it's all through the Quran about how, you know, how people are talked about, or submitters and stuff, you know, people who invite to the path of God, or even they're inviting other people who believe in God but don't believe so without idol worship. They, you know, indeed this person is really far astray. That's the things they think. Or, oh, this information that this person is very strange. You know, our parents never taught us such things. I mean, it's a lot different. You know, I mean, it's a good way. I mean, it's for us to strengthen our souls and stuff. And I mean, we do this because we love and appreciate God the most, and realize everything we have is from God. You know, without God, we wouldn't have any of this. You know, we wouldn't even have ourselves. Like, we can't. You know, but yeah. So when triumph comes from God and the victory, you'll see people embracing God's religion in throngs. So, you know, glorifying God and striving as much as possible before the victory comes, which it is coming. You know, I mean, we have a clear messenger who's fulfilled, you know, he's done an excellent job at delivering the message, and you know, so, you know, it's in our best interest and to strive and prior to the victory, you know, because once it comes, you know, and plus it's to grow our souls too. We're not just doing it for you know, we're doing it for God, and because what we believe in, and we're doing it for ourselves, you know, to become stronger and bigger and better souls, you know, so we can withstand God on the day of judgment. We're not going to have to run from Him, you know, or run to hell, you know, or like Quran or previous scriptures calls it outer darkness, you know. I mean, they're all Sheol. I mean, all these terrible names, you know. Should invoke a healthy sense of fear. You know, this is what every human being is up against. So it's we have to do as much as possible and ask God to help us. You know, He's the forgiver and the redeemer. He's the most merciful. You know, so we shouldn't ever despair in His mercy either, despite what life has thrown at us, or or what we're throwing at ourselves. May God help us out of these situations, and to pass our tests too, because that's very important. Sir, 111 Thorns, Al Masad, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, if I said that right, inshallah, condemned on the works of Abu Lahab, and he is condemned. His money and whatever he has accomplished will never help him. He has incurred the blazing hellfire. So I'll just read this, and then we'll move on to the discussion part, God willing. Abu Lahab was Muhammad's uncle and the leader of the opposition. His wife carried out a campaign of persecution against Muhammad and the believers. Like all descriptions of heaven and hell, the rope of thorns is an allegory. Thorns, So it's going to be much worse than that. I mean, even a rope of thorns is really horrible just to imagine around your neck. But, that's going to be that and, probably infinitely worse. But for such a evil person that persecuted, a believer and other believers. So with that being said, if there's any comments or questions, please feel free. If I made any mistakes, may God forgive me. Thank you for listening.
MashaAllah, thank you.
MashaAllah, thank you, Brother John.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah, brother. Yeah, it's very true how you were saying about striving before the victory. And how you were saying, like, of course, we're gonna be called, like you were saying, like, oh, this person is crazy, like, what is he bringing, and stuff like that. But like you said, like, who cares what anybody says, like, as long as we submit to God, and we're just trusting God, it doesn't matter what anybody says, so MashaAllah, yeah. And like you were saying, it's not the same, the messenger also talks about this. He says that he said, like, it's like kind of what you said, that it's not the same when you strive before the victory, and so, I mean, subhanAllah, it's not easy, but we just ask God to help us, and give us strength, and just ask God to keep us, in the straight path, in the right path, because we see how, it has happened recently, like people drop out so easily, and they just like so easily, they drop out and they leave. And I don't think they realize how serious this is. How serious their decision, what they did, how serious it is. It's so important, to kill the ego and to just stay in the right path, and just ask God um, to help us, because like we know that it's not easy, you know, like it's not easy, we must always implore God to help us stay in the right path. And there's verses in the Quran that we must ask protection, with verses in the Quran that protects us from Satan, and yeah, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah. That was good, you know. Yeah, because that's kind of like what you said, you know, that's why it's not easy. I mean, because I mean, what makes it, excuse me, that's what makes it different, you know, because it's not easy. But alhamdulillah, like, you know, the more we persevere and strive without, you know, like the Quran says, without fear or blame. You know, we don't care what people say or what people think, because I mean, I mean, it's good for people. I mean, even to jump on the bandwagon or something like that. But you know, people are obviously, when they're in greater numbers, or if everybody's believing the same thing, they're not going to be faced with opposition. They're not going to be faced with ridicule, or they're not going to be faced with, you know, it's a lot different. They're not going to be looked at as, you know, crazy, or what the message that you're bringing to people. You know, most people find it strange, like the Quran says. You know how, because they're so used to worshiping idols. You know, I mean, where I'm from, you know, and just where I grew up with. I mean, it's all about Jesus. You know, this and that. But you know, so if you, I mean, even before coming into submission. You know, it's like you haven't heard about this, but alhamdulillah, it makes perfect sense, especially now with the miracle and everything proof. You know, yeah, may God help us and keep us on the right path. And
Mashallah.
really, it's comforting too. I mean, we may, you know, it may appear because of the illusion we're in that we're in the minority or something, but it's actually not the case. Because I mean, when you think about how many devoted, like 100% devoted worshipers to God alone, creatures like the angels there are around us. I mean, one angel, you know, that could hold the earth in its entire hand. So I mean, angel could easily,
Mashallah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it could easily wipe out the entire earth and all like people without even, without the least effort, without even thinking about it. So just remembering God, and you know, kind of like the messenger. I like how he said, you know, if we have any bad thoughts or any devilish thoughts, or you know, whatever the situation we find ourselves in, we remember that God is with us right now and here in this room. He's with me right now. And he said any fear or any anything bad, like bad thoughts or whatever, will go away.
Right. Yeah, I think he said satanic thoughts, right?
I think, yeah, satanic or devilish. Devilish, I think, is the word.
Okay.
Devilish. I mean, but satanic and devilish is the same thing. But,
Yeah,
but, 'But, yeah, of course. I mean, it's,
mashallah.
you know, it's, 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 it's kind of like it's what makes. I mean, it makes sense. Like the whole test that we're in, and killing the ego is not caring what people, because like most something I've noticed where people fall short. I mean, obviously, just outside of the idol worshiping, but you can see how many people acquiesce to people's wishes. Like there are congregations of people are just appeasing to gain more followers, and they compromise their own convictions, which is really, God. You don't. I mean, I wouldn't want those people. You wouldn't want those people. I mean, people like you wouldn't want a friend or a spouse that would do such a thing. So like, thinking of it in that respect, I mean, to me, it shows like the importance of why it's so bad to compromise or to acquiesce to people's wishes, because we can see that even within even within submission, just to appease to larger crowds, they're going to be okay with an innovation like circumcision, or they're not going to stand up for what's right. They're just gonna that's okay, this goes, or let these people in here. It's the same flaw that we've seen in with so many other religions and people. It's just not worth it.
Mashallah. Mashallah, but yeah, it's good examples, and it's way serious when with God, but these people, like, they're so unappreciative, and it's just like hypocrites, because when it has to do, like what's really important, God alone, it's way more serious, and these people are committing this unforgivable sin, of maintenance of death. Like if they don't take it as serious, like as it is, it's like it's the reason why we're here, and these subhanallah, God's also, we know that God says that, they're like everybody's already stamped, and there's people that are blocked also, so, and inshallah. Yeah.
Yeah, the messenger also says that we are all stamped. God already knows who's going to hell or who's going to heaven. Praise be to God. Subhanallah.
Mashallah, yeah, Brother John, also, like you were talking about the angels, and it's so true, because but the reason is that's why it's so amazing that we have the truth, that we know that these are facts. We know that there's angels around us, and there's so much other creature, like more creatures that are submitters, like than what we see in this illusion, but people that don't search for the truth, and um, don't search for the truth, they stay with this illusion, that like, oh, we're more, and like we read in the Quran that you see through history where these people mock, these people like think that they're more, and they mock, like every messenger gets mocked, and every messenger gets persecuted, because these people are stuck in their illusion, and Subhanallah, I thank God that we have the truth. That we know like we know what reality really is. And why we are here.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, mashallah. I kind of like have a question. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Um, like God says, whoever goes to the heaven, they will never be sad or like feel bad about it. Like never ever. So, like some submitters are like they love their family, they love their friends and other people. For example, um, a wife loves his husband, a husband loves his wife. So if the man goes to heaven and if the woman, I don't know, this is just example though. If the woman goes to the hell, so I'm sorry if what I'm about to ask is a sin or not, but I'm
No, it's
just
not a
curious
sin,
about it.
sister. Yeah, the messenger actually talks about it. He says you're not
Yeah,
gonna feel
what
sorry
he's
for.
got, like, will he be happy or is the heaven like it is so much more beautiful, like prettier than we think that we can't even be sad about it.
In the hereafter, regardless of everything else, you're not gonna feel sorry for anyone uh, who goes to hell because um, the thing is that you will recognize why those people are in hell, and you will recognize we will be in full submission to God. So, like, usually when we are sad about something, it's because like we're sort of objecting to what God is doing, and that causes us to be have feelings of unhappiness because we're not happy
MashaAllah.
with
Yeah.
yeah we're not happy with what God has decided, right? But we'll understand in that other world that everything that is happening is a result of whatever people have decided. Now it's a sorry condition for them that this is the case, but if you're with God and you realize that a person is like this and you understand, you'll be fully satisfied and content with the fact that such and such went to hell, such and such went to heaven, because God did the absolute justice. So there'll be no feelings of unhappiness, right? I mean, we can't be more merciful than God, right? So if God knew that there was something about this person that they deserved to be in heaven, they would have been in heaven. So they're not because that's what they deserve. So why would anyone feel sad for them, right? And God says, God controls our hearts, right? God says on the day of judgment, like He will remove even jealousy and all these things from our hearts, right? So God will have full control of our hearts. So we'll make sure that we don't dwell on these things. People that is God's law that people who are in heaven will have no misery or no sadness of any kind. They will always be happy eternally, and then they will not even get bored, nothing like that. So He controls us. So it's His law that when we go there, God willing, whoever goes there is fortunate enough to be in heaven, that they will not feel sad. And Messenger of the Covenant specifically mentioned this part that you will not feel sorry or sad for people who are in hell, even if they're your loved ones.
Yeah,
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
mashallah,
Another way
mashallah.
to look at it is that, when you're in heaven, let's say, uh, and you realize that somebody's in hell, you will know why they're in hell in the sense of like the fact that they're God's enemies, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you'll feel the same way towards them that you would feel towards an actual person who's evil and an enemy. Like you'll see their evil things on that day, right? So there's no reason to feel sad for someone who's truly evil. They're simply getting what they deserve. Like when you see a real bad criminal, like extremely evil, right, who has committed like murders of hundreds of people, and when they go to jail, you don't feel sad for them, or if they're
Yeah.
executed, because you know that they got what they deserved. And God says,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, someone who rebelled against God, knowing how big He is. I mean, of course, we realize that, yeah, that was their decision to be there. It was because of what they did. They chose to be here, so why should we feel sorry for them?
Yeah, brother. MashaAllah, that's true. Yeah, that was a really good answer. Thank you for that. Um, yeah, like we know what they did, so that's true. Why we would be sad about that? MashaAllah. Well, no, we can't be merciful like more than God, of course. That's a fact. Because we have jealousy in our heart. We have like so many other feelings in our heart sometimes, like um I have seen some people these days that they think that they are submitters, but they kind of have like weird feelings and weird thoughts in their mind and heart. So sometimes I just question myself, how can they just call themselves a submitter if they are not doing what like the God says in the Quran? For example, I've seen so many girls that um, are not wearing clothes that as the Quran says, as God says, of course. And I was like, is it about culture or something else? But I asked in um group, Turkish group. So um
Are you talking about girls like in Turkey or elsewhere?
yeah, in Turkey. I
Hmm.
saw some girls that they think that they are submitters, but they don't do what the Quran says.
Hmm.
I thought like that might be about the culture, but that's not true because like a submitter sister answered me in the Turkish group. She said um like as how Sunni people force all the girls to cover up, and culture like some cultures also force you to like open up, but that's not true, you know.
Yeah, I don't think any culture forces people to open up, but I mean, of course, it's like peer pressure and stuff. Maybe you can say that, they see other people do it, but that's not a justification. But I mean, we know that at least the minimum dress code has to be followed, and then they have to go above that to appear righteous, right? But that
Uh-huh.
standard may be different for different places. So I don't know exactly. Like, if I saw the dresses you were talking about, I would be able to, shed more light on it. But like, if they're wearing like mini skirts or mini shorts or something, then that's definitely wrong. But like, if they're wearing long skirts in some um, cultures, like it's totally acceptable, right? And you're not revealing
Mm-hmm.
anything like totally unnecessary in that sense, like but yeah, I mean, if they're wearing stuff that is provocative and they're trying to reveal unnecessary parts of their body just to get attention, then you would conclude that this person is not dressed in a submitter like fashion,
Yeah,
not dressed modestly, so.
yeah, mashallah, brother. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I would say that um, if someone is a submitter, that it becomes obvious that they're not comfortable, revealing
Yeah,
too much. That comes from
exactly.
reverence, in general. And so people who don't feel that, that tells something about their soul.
Yeah, brother, definitely, that's true. If they are submitted, they won't feel comfortable about that. um I also have a last question. um it's again about husband and wife thing. So if a husband and a wife, both of them go heaven, so like, do they still can be together in in heaven, or they won't remember each other as how we don't remember our decision we have made by choosing this world, the earth.
Yeah,
No, we're still gonna remember the decision we made. Like Suleiman can, I mean, maybe yeah, Suleiman
yeah.
can
Go
speak.
ahead, brother Joe. I mean,
Oh,
I'll talk after
oh.
you.
But no, yeah, well, like we have in the Quran, you know how, yeah, if you make, God willing, you know, you and your spouses, we're told to readily join their their spouses, their husbands and wives and stuff, you know, that make it to heaven. And I mean, of course, it's going to be so much better than anything in this world. So, you know, about how, like, you know, the believing men and women among their families, you know, that includes a husband and wife who are submitters. They're going to be in the most blissful abode forever. And yeah, we will remember. Is that, I'm not sure, maybe if you're, the exact, that part of the question, but like, yeah, as far as our decision, like everything is going to be remembered in the sense of, you know, we have our records and stuff. I mean, every interaction we've ever had with people we're gonna recall, which is, it's kind of
Mhm.
scary in the sense, like, that's why I guess I think
Also,
Suleiman, like,
Yeah.
I guess what I was trying to explain. I mean, if the circumstances call for it, but like when I'm talking to people at work, or just depending on how they're opening up and stuff, like, okay, let me just give them the messages, so you know, because I'm like, I even told one person that said, me and you are gonna remember we're having this conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't, but no, I could, like, it was Zion. He was that cool guy, that thing I told you about, like, who was interested in the contact
Mhm.
prayers, and he was like, yeah, and you know, but like, but yeah, it's so, it's like, wow, we're actually,
So
we're,
he didn't
Oh
accept.
yeah, yeah, brother John. In Quran it also says they are going to talk about the old days, you know.
mm-hmm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in the hereafter too, like, you know, when God comes, you know, that you know, we're every like the human being, um, like they're gonna be even like everything is gonna be more real, you know,
mm-hmm,
like
Yeah. More than the
like
illusion.
right,
yeah,
you know, like it's
Yeah.
like we're gonna be more sharper, you know, like
yeah.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not going to be some dream, you know, because like coming from Christianity, I mean, it's the same thing with God. Like, when I heard, like, when I saw the messenger's video about how God is holding you know, 7 universes and how He built it up from our solar system to galaxy. It's like, oh my gosh, this makes perfect sense. Like, this is what you want to hear. Because I mean, in Christianity, you're not sure about what's happening or the hereafter. I mean, you don't know if it's just like
Mashallah.
some dream or. But yeah, I mean, we have in the Quran, like, how everything is going to be even more real. Like, if this is an illusion, which this illusion feels very real. I mean, just imagine the real
MashaAllah.
life. May
Yeah,
God
but
help us.
Salam
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
alaikum.
I think
Assalamu alaikum.
you had just read a verse
Yeah,
too, brother John, about I think it was the eye of certainty. I think that was the verse.
Oh, this.
sorry, please. I want to comment on the question she's asking about the husband and wife stuff. That's I think what she's actually trying to ask is when God said when we get to heaven, we will be provided with another spouse that's you know, that has never been touched, blah blah blah, things like that. And I think she's trying to say if we are in heaven like, as husband and wife, and we are together in heaven together, and at the end of the day, will God provide a new spouse for me after working so hard here in earth, then getting to heaven, and at the end of the day, God will now provide us another we'll say second wife, or will she be having a new husband too? I think that's the question you're trying to ask, right?
Me?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to.
My question was actually, are the wife and the husband can still be together in the heaven
That's
or
what I'm
not?
saying. Like, well, in the
Yeah,
Quran, God
yeah,
told us
yeah,
that we'll be provided with another spouse, like a
yeah.
new, like for we. I think is it directing to women because
No.
What?
Okay,
I
So
see it as
can I add something to that?
you're gonna want to be
okay.
with your spouse in this world. Like, so if you marry somebody, like that's the whole thing. Like, you're gonna love her. Like, you're gonna want to be with her forever and ever, and that
I think
includes
she's
the
being
hereafter.
Yeah,
jealous
yeah,
right now. That's
exactly.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So
Brother
Are you being
Superman,
jealous in
raise the
heaven?
little
Like
hand.
we the jealousy, like the jealous parts of us that
How do you
as
do?
women, God said in the Quran actually that we can have as for men 1, 2, 3. I think the 1, 2, 3, 4 is not for just to have ordinary spouse or something. You get, but in our own case, I think I can picture what she's saying. Like me and my wife going to heaven, and my wife will be there, fine, inshallah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. Like,
I,
can you
I
find her in the heaven?
and
That's what I'm
and
trying to
like after doing the hard work, you guys being together, and that's why God said the jealous parts will be like when you get to heaven, when we get to heaven, inshallah, and
Inshallah.
me and my wife in heaven, and probably God now brought someone for me as a new spouse, kind of. You get like she will be jealous, or I don't know if God will do the same thing for her as
Uh,
well.
can I? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So the thing is that if you have a wife in this world, right, and you go to heaven,
Yeah, yeah.
God says your spouses will join you in heaven. Now, when you're talking about the spouses, when God says they will not be touched, if you have been intimate with your wife, doesn't mean that you're gonna get a second wife in heaven, and then you're gonna have multiple wives. It means like our existence, we will be in our real forms. We will not be the human beings that were touched in this
Mashallah.
world, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so we will be our bodies will be different. And so in heaven, that spouse that you're gonna get, it's gonna be as you're starting all over again. Like she will not be touched before.
Oh,
It will be as just as they were completely pure, and you're gonna have like a new life. In that sense. But it's just gonna be a new life. Doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be
it's not
another
that it's
wife.
gonna be a
It'd be a
new.
new wife.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. So it's the
okay.
same wife, right?
That's okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
Now, yeah, I
Yeah,
that's
as
an
long
I'm
as
just
your
trying to
wife
picture.
also made it to paradise, or your husband, also made it to
Yeah,
paradise.
yeah,
Like
both of
obviously,
them, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay,
also,
okay.
our
Oh,
brother
oh my
Imran was saying
God.
that it was allegorical, so it's gonna be even more. We can't imagine how amazing it's gonna be because we know that it's allegorical. The description
Mhm.
of heaven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can wrap our minds.
Oh my God. I'm grateful.
yeah. Wow. All is well. We have the topic for today. I was driving. I was just listening to some few things when you guys were talking, but the main topic for today is what, so that we can talk on that topic, because there are so many things. I'm just joining for the first time, and there are so many areas in the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I won't like to digress of
Mashallah.
something that we are not talking about right now.
mashallah,
And
Mm-hmm.
welcome.
Yeah, but the format of our study is that we talk about the verses we read, and then after that, after we're done commenting on the verses we read, then we discuss off-topic questions. So if you have off-topic questions, as soon as we're done talking about these verses, we can definitely go into any of those questions, God willing.
okay, there are so many questions in the Quran, like for me actually,
Mm-hmm.
because like I think I was talking to Sulaiman in the earlier on, and we were discussing about how you came across this for you to believe in the Quran alone. I think it's not an easy task for me in my own part of the country, because mostly people believe in the Quran as the first choice for everybody, but the only difference is just the Hadith, which we all know. So, in my own part of the country, for me to convince my wife is a very difficult thing because she find it absurd. Like, oh, God, why would I be doing this when I've been doing? It's just like being a Christian. You know what we're doing now is just like, well, you being a Christian and you being a Muslim initially, the normal thing we all understand. So now having a new type of orientation about the religion, like we went to study, like you read the Quran, and God made it easy for you to understand, as it is written in the Quran, that we made the Quran easy for us. Do any of you wish to learn? So to God be the glory, we're able to understand it, because I believe if the Quran is written in English, not Arabic for us, as it was written initially, probably people, even the Christians, well, they will understand that, okay, because to me, I see the Quran, it makes a lot of sense to me, because I see it as this thing is just a way of life, how we are meant to live our life. That's the way I see the Quran. So me reading the Quran, it was something that led me to the Quran, actually, because I was I love my religion, being a Muslim, blah blah blah, but nobody's perfect, you get. So there are some things that I found that brought me to the Quran. Let me even read this thing. What are they saying? Where are they getting these facts from? These days, this and this, blah blah blah. Don't do this. If you do this, you go straight to hell. Your prayer won't be answered. So many contradictions in the hadith. So I went to check the Quran, like you trying to check something, like where is this thing in this verse? Like you reading the Quran from A to Z without missing anything. And initially, Quran is in Arabic, so I tried to find different translation of the Quran to see where they said that's what they are saying in the hadith, because I knew they were reading from the hadith, but before any hadith, they will read the Quran first, then back it up with the hadith. That's the way they do it. That's how we read it here in my place. So after our prayer, after our salat, we do the reading of the hadith. So they will read one hadith that was brought from Buhari, blah blah blah. They say things like that. So after everything, they start reading things in the hadith. I'll be like, is our God that difficult? Like for us to worship him and do so other things like that. So I went to the that was when I started reading the Quran. Like, okay, let me start. Let me see where. So reading the Quran, I later saw so many things that were like the ablution, for example. Imagine the ablution we are doing my own part of the. I think everywhere in the world we are doing the 8 steps, and in the Quran we are just doing 4 steps. Where did they get the 4? I would be like, if Muhammad was alive, what will he be preaching about? Is it the Quran, or I don't know? Will there be a backup of hadith, or I don't understand? So I'm actually confused. So we now seeing those things then, like I'm talking about like
Mm-hmm.
10, like 9, 10 years ago now. I was challenging my people here, like, okay, fine. I saw this thing. Because when they speak in Arabic, blah blah blah, I don't understand. I don't understand Arabic. But the English you guys are speaking is what I understand. So what I read and what we are doing, I'll now be asking them, please, how come in the Quran that Prophet himself brought, we are doing 4 steps. 4 steps are in the Quran, and they now change. They will say so many things like, this one is. It was when the Quran came. The Quran, so many. So I'll be like, okay, fine. That one is gone. Why? Can you show me a proof That's okay. The Quran. How did you have the extra steps after reading and seeing Rashad Khalifa backing those things up, and I watch all the videos then. And again, sorry, please, I would like to all the videos on my own app. I can't view them. Is it everybody that are experiencing that on the app? The videos of Rashad Khalifa, all the sermon he made during his lifetime. Is it everybody that is getting there? This thing, the video, are they able to watch it on the app?
You were able to watch the videos on the app. Is that what you ask?
Yeah.
Yes, you can watch it on the app. Yes.
Able to view them. The phone is dead. So I don't know.
Yeah, brother, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can watch. You can watch the videos of the Messenger of the Covenant on the app.
Okay, but I can't watch it. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. I'm unable
Okay,
to.
you can
I'm
also
unable to
just
watch.
go to the YouTube channel God Alone TV, and you can watch them there directly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Just
you.
search for God Alone TV, and you'll find all those videos, and you'll find also the videos of our Quran studies. They are
Oh,
also broadcasted on YouTube.
okay. What's the channel?
God Alone TV. God Alone TV.
God Alone TV. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, so all those contradictions that we experience here in my own part of the country,
Yeah.
I'll be like, why evolution now? So at times it's now be like, am I even doing the right thing myself? Those are kind of questions I like when the messenger told us about how to do our salats, how to do ablution, then the salats, we should not have any other shahada apart from la ilaha illallah. So and it's not that they don't. I don't think it's. I don't. It's not that they don't understand, but they just feel they felt they should add. Without adding that thing, your religion is not complete yet. That's what they say. They tell me my religion is not complete if I don't find believing in God is normal, but the messenger of God is meant to.
Right,
Be,
brother. So you said you had some questions too, right? Do you want to ask any of those questions that maybe we could help answer, God willing? Or are you more, did you mean that you just wanted to have a personal sharing, more or less?
yeah, personal sharing and
Okay, I see.
about how do you do your own wudu? Is it the
Uh,
way the Quran told us?
yeah, we follow what the Quran says, right?
Okay, what about the part of okay? Let me see how you
We,
analyze
we
your.
have the videos from the messenger. He demonstrates based on the
Yeah,
Quran
yeah.
how.
I've watched this. I've
So
watched it before. I've watched.
we just follow that, yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
do another question. How will I say it? Are we meant to? Is the messenger on the right path? Should I put it that way? Do we get
Yes. I
the
mean,
right
of
path?
course, he's sent by God as a messenger. So why would God send a messenger who's not on the right path?
Okay. And why? If there's a question I would like to ask. If he's a messenger, as we believe in him, like what he came with, I believe in it. Why is not it's not everybody that knows about it. Like, are we not meant to,
Mm-hmm.
as in, how will I put it?
Right.
Because
How come not everybody's following submission right now? That's the
yeah,
question.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Hmm. So the thing is that
it's not
God says,
publicized. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. So God says majority of people are destined for hell, right? The majority of people who believe do not do so without committing idol worship. So that's why you'll find before submission prevails, you'll see all these people, right? And but the thing is, after a while, we know that it's Quran's prophecy that the submission will ultimately prevail, and it's going to happen very soon. So like the messenger of the covenant has prophesied the smoke prophecy to come, right? When the people are going to be hit by the asteroid uh, as a retribution for not believing in the messenger of God. After that, all these people are going to realize that God really sent a messenger, and they will have no choice but to accept the truth, obviously, because they will want to get out of the mess that they are in from the retribution. So eventually, a time will come that submission will prevail, and God says that submission will prevail. It's in the Quran. It's mathematically coded. So eventually, it will happen, right? But everything is happening at a time that God has planned. Nevertheless, we're not saying that all these people will become like true, sincere believers. There will be many hypocrites, obviously, like you have hypocrites now, and there will be many submitters as well.
But like people that believe only that believe the Quran alone, nothing but the Quran. I don't think they're up to 20% in the world.
You don't think what?
Like you and I, everyone here, to believe
Mm-hmm.
in Quran alone, nothing but the Quran.
Uh-huh.
People that believe not on nothing but the Quran, I don't think we are up to 20%.
I don't know where what? Sorry, I didn't get the last
I
part.
said I don't think we are up to 20% that believe in the Quran alone.
Did anyone else get that?
Hello, I said in the Quran.
Uh-huh.
For us to believe in the Quran, I said I
Uh-huh.
don't think in the whole wide world,
In the whole wide world?
20% that believe in the
20%?
Quran alone. Yeah.
No, it's not even like 1% or
Uh-huh.
2%.
And
Yeah.
the reason being why is that the Quran, most people don't read the English Quran. That's what I do tell my people here. Because you don't understand me personally, I don't understand the Arabic parts, but the English parts, I understand it. I'm able to digest it.
Mashallah. Brother,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Also, the messenger of the covenant, he spoke Arabic,
Yeah.
fluently. So, like the Quran, um, the Quran says, that the believers they don't argue with anything, they just obey. The messenger comes with the truth, and we just submit to that truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in our own part, like in America now, I believe if I want to preach to a non-believer now, to tell him that this is what you should be following. Like he would be telling me that what about the hadiths that people like? That's what an average Muslim. That's what they follow. Even the Islamic channel, how they preach, as in, I don't know. Is there a way we can come in to talk about this? Because
I
it's
mean,
just like
they don't have no proof, brother. The Quran is backed up
there's
by the mathematical miracle 19. By God's belief. That's the proof. Everybody else could say what they want to say, but they have no proof.
okay.
That we actually have the truth. I mean, because we can actually say now there is such thing as a religion. The only religion that's acceptable to God is submission. And I mean, of course, like when you invite people to this, honestly, it's people's egos that are going to cause them to reject because they're going to be like, who are you to tell me I'm following a false religion or I'm worshiping Jesus? I'm not, no, my religion's right. Look at all these people in my congregation, like these 100,000 people in the New Apostolic Reformation can't all be wrong, but literally, I'll to those people, I'll open the Bible up and I'll show them where Jesus explicitly says most people are actually going to be deceived. I mean, it's in Revelations, it's in the New Testament, it's most likely in the Old Testament as well, but I mean, it's in their own prophecies, and yet they don't have eyes or ears to understand what's even being talked about in their scripture. But yeah, I mean, it's we actually have proof there is such thing as a true religion, and it's the most sensible. I mean, like, really, if you think about it, it's the easiest to follow in the sense you don't have to worry about worshiping idols or this pope or this saint or all this kind of mumbo jumbo. It's very peaceful and like not stressful at all in the sense like we know it's the perfect religion, the God alone, our creator, and naturally so. I mean, even without the miracle, we can kind of appreciate. I mean, with the miracle, we definitely want the miracle and we need it in the sense of having certainty. But even outside of the miracle, knowing God alone is also our natural instinct. Is the monotheistic natural instinct that I mean, obviously our jinn is gonna try to tell us otherwise, but that's where that ongoing debate takes place. And I think as long as we kill our egos and like make sure it stays dead, like dead means dead, like the messenger said, is really the most important factor behind. I mean, pretty much our most important thing. One of the most important things we can do in this life, this temporary life, because it helps everything else to fall into place. I mean, if any of us wouldn't have killed our egos at some point, like we wouldn't even be here in submission and accepted the messenger, Rashad's messengership, or accepted that our religion was wrong. We were following Satan. We didn't know it. I mean, you have to kill your ego before. But once you realize what's at stake, like hell, I mean, there's not going to be any egos in hell. I mean, we're told that these people would be humiliated, debased, they're the worst losers. I mean, this is very scary, and this is what we're all facing. So we have to really get it right this time. But yeah, it's just so not worth it to be arrogant, because it's like there's no other alternative than hell. And I mean, everybody will be submitting on the day of judgment, so we want to submit now, and may God help us to be good and to improve.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're finding opposition, brother, with people, I mean, just know that, I mean, you're probably arguing, or not you're arguing, these people are arguing with their egos against you.
Yeah, like
that's really what it is, like they're like, who are you, to tell me I'm doing this wrong? They're going to try to convince you.
I want to ask a question, like in the Quran, there is nowhere in the Quran on how we taught how to make our salat, like the Fajr and Surya Stream Maghrib, the numbers of rakas, like that's where they used to get me. They'll be like, where is in the Quran where we taught how to do our salat? Likewise, there was a time I was asking, I called one of our Samita's brothers told me that I should ask them where is it written in the hadith as well how to do our salat. Like the Prophet, peace be upon him, told them how to do the salat, the rakas.
Yeah, so first of all, when we mention the Prophet, we don't send peace and blessings, etc.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that your other question was, what was your other question? Sorry.
Like, how do we do our listening?
Yeah, so the thing is that it's not even mentioned in the hadith, right? So you can tell them that how to do the contact prayer is not in the hadith. So if you're saying you're upholding hadith, and hadith is telling you that how many units to pray, that's a lie. So the prayers were given to Abraham, and they were passed on from generation to generation after Abraham. God preserved the prayers. That's why when the Quran was revealed, how to do the contact prayers was not part of the Quran. The only things that the Quran touched on were the things that were disputed or distorted in the contact prayer at the time, which was like the tone of the contact prayer, etc. So, uh, if they say you need hadith to know how to do the contact prayer, that's nonsense. Because there's no such hadith that says, you have to do this many units in this prayer and this many units in this prayer, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how come we're never taught how to, like the new one we are doing? I'll say new one because in this part of the world I came from, when they call for Salat,
Mm-hmm.
they had the Prophet Muhammad, they had it, and they doing their like how the messenger taught us how to do our shawda, the attire, and how to do our salat. It's absolutely different. So
Yeah, so the messenger, you have to tell them the messenger didn't say how to do it. Just show me where you get back. Show me hadith where the messenger says how to do the contact prayer, how
yeah,
many units, etc. There's no such hadith. Yes.
okay. So now we telling them how to do our own, and the only difference is that don't just add the prophet to your salat. That's the only difference, and don't add anything. Don't just add anything. So to now tell them that it looks like, since when I've been like, and the Quran told us that you follow your parent blindly simply because every one of us were born to follow our parents actually. Like I met my parent doing so thing. That's why I'm doing my religion. So it was later on I went for knowledge and I came across the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
To them, me now telling them that, oh, hello, mommy, what you doing is because in our own parts, after we're doing Ramadan now, and in Ramadan, after Ramadan, there's a prayer we do after Ramadan. Yeah, what do they even call this? Their prayer. I've stopped doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah,
see me.
the
They see,
Tarawih.
they see me. Yeah, the Nafla, what do they call it? They see me doing those things, and I stopped doing it. They're like, you fasted for 30 days, 29 days, and why are you not going for your what do they used to call it?
Eid prayer.
Eid prayer, yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you not going for the Eid? Is part of your fasting. Is that they now see me as a bad person. That's why won't you go?
Mm-hmm.
Why you do this? Why won't you
Yeah,
do?
God says you just disregard those things, right? Your insults and all that. Like, you can just block all that, just don't
That's what
pay attention to these things.
that's what I've been doing actually.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. There's this other question. Um, hmm, uh, and the Tarawih. Um, the Tarawih is nonsense as well, but they see you as why won't you do Tarawih? And simply because they're doing it in the Kaaba itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to convince people about these the submission to God alone is not always an easy task. Not if only they can read the Quran, the English one, not the Arabic. But people in I don't know the Arab people. I think they understand the Quran themselves, but they don't just want to follow what the Quran says alone.
Yeah, but the Arabic Quran is even, it was sent in Arabic because it's so clear, the language. Also, you could watch the video, the Great Debate on YouTube, and the
Yeah,
Messenger of the Covenant. Yeah,
I've
he's
watched it,
debating. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but the Arabic, I don't know why. It's just like we speak in English and now. I believe anybody that is able to read the English Quran from A to Z without missing any parts will understand what we are saying because it's just like you going to school and you read your book and for you to understand and to believe in it. That's what you need. But nobody's ready to read it. That's what I see.
Right. I mean, the thing is that anybody who's not doing it, it's like I don't worry about that because I know that what I'm following is the truth from the Quran, and I know that I'm following the truth from the Quran because I have physical, tangible, mathematical evidence, right? So it doesn't matter what other people are doing. You can simply just shut it out and just ignore it. I mean, you know that eventually, when the world ends, they're gonna
Everybody,
see what they did, so don't necessarily burden yourself with these ideas, and don't doubt yourself that you're doing wrong because everybody else is doing a certain way. You just know for certain that what they're following is just nonsense, and even if they tell you you're doing something wrong and this and that, I mean, you just don't care about it, just let it uh, just don't let it bother you, God willing.
yeah.
Mashallah.
Mm, so many things. There are so many things in the Quran. Can't just
Yeah,
say
but
everything.
also the other thing is that sometimes these things they make us may make us feel sad,
Yeah,
because it's naturally, I mean, that's the thing, but God says that these are credits for our soul. When you get insulted and persecuted, this you get a special place in heaven just for going through that.
yeah, sure, sure.
And that's
Um,
another reason why, to go to your previous question, brother, about why these people are not believing, because this is a time when submission has not prevailed yet. We haven't gotten the victory, and the people who are still on the path of submission during this time, they are very, very fortunate people, and they have a really high place in heaven, God willing, if they're on the right path because of that, because it's not easy to be a submitter at this time, right? So if you're facing that, first of all, if you feel like you're oppressed in your country and you're not able to follow the religion freely, then the commandment in the Quran is to immigrate, right? Um, and then the other
yeah,
thing is, but if there's situations and circumstances that don't allow you for whatever reason, whether it's financial or something else, and you have to be there, then just be patient, for when you go through these things, and just know
yeah,
that God says that there's people who are persecuted. I mean, of course, they have their rank in heaven that is going to be higher than those people who come afterward, when submission will be in fashion, and everybody's a submitter. They don't get the same ranks that the other people do, because for them it's not easy. They're seen as the black sheep, and
yeah.
they're treated differently, and looked upon differently. So there's definitely a lot of credit for that. That we should
Because
remember.
I've for like for years now, the Jumat prayer, I don't do it again, and people see me as, bro, you pray, you do everything. Why won't you go for Jumat, Salatul Jumat? Why won't you go? And initially, I think I was talking, I used to chat, I used to mail one of the submitters then on my, back then, I think 2016, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I think 15, 16. I used to chat with someone then. So I was like, I'm facing a challenge. I used to go to Jumat, but I just read my own thing myself and follow like when they do their Ashada, I do my own after they might have done theirs. I do mine, and I I continue. I follow the Imam. So someone now told me I should stop going instead of me following. Like I'm still following them. Why would I? I can just do my salat at home and do my and I want to ask. I think then he told me I should just do my normal Zuri prayer, just the 4 rakahs. And later on, someone told me again that I should just do my 2 instead of making it 4. So which one as I'm alone here doing my thing alone,
To what?
how should I be doing my Juma?
Your
Like,
Juma, yes.
you know,
Yeah. So
uh,
basically, if you don't have anybody to pray with you, then you are supposed to just do your 4 units.
4 units, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, not meant to do 2 units for Friday prayer.
I'm sorry?
Said I'm not meant to do two
Yeah, you're
units
not
for
meant to
my.
because the two sermons are supposed to compensate for that, right? The 2 units, and then that's why you do 2 units. But since you don't have anybody to do congregation prayer with you, you don't just by yourself, you cannot do a sermon, right? You cannot give yourself a sermon. That would be
Okay.
strange. So that's why you're just supposed to do 4 units.
Oh, so okay. I should be doing 4 units.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Because for years now I've been doing my Jumat alone, and I think I was talking to someone. I was actually doing 4 units, and later on, I think someone told me to do two since it's a Friday prayer. 2 units. So I started doing two a few years ago.
Hmm.
But in this Ramadan, I even forgot it was Friday. I did my 4 units this
Hmm.
last Friday.
Right. Yeah,
So
so the correct is 4 units, yes.
if I'm doing it alone,
If you're doing it by yourself, yes.
even if we are two, there might not be
What do you
sermon.
mean if you're two?
Two people like me,
No, if you're
myself.
two people, then one person should give the sermon, and then you should do 2 units after that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
more than one person, then you can do a Jummah prayer, right, at your house or home, whatever place you have. You can do it there. You don't have to have a mosque to do a Friday prayer.
Yeah. Okay.
You can have your house as a mosque, you know.
Yeah. My house is my mosque because not going for Friday prayer, not going to mosque,
Mm.
but there's this sense in what I say that I don't do this, I don't do that. My salat is to God alone, and it's just so funny. I don't know. That's why I said in Arabic, like Surah 17, verse 110, when God talked about how to make our contact prayer, the voice, the tone, He said we should not speak too loud and it should be in a moderate voice. So I don't know why they're not saying it. Like those are the questions I had my people
Hmm.
here. That why is
Yeah,
our
they're not
story and
seeing it because they're not following the Quran. That's why.
Mhm.
They don't even know
But
what's in the
why?
Quran, right?
That's why I said the hadith. I think the hadith told them that for history and during prayer, don't speak loud, and it makes no sense to me. The way I think I had the imam here in my place. He was like, no, God was not talking about the contact when we were making contact him. He was like, what God is saying there is that like when we are reciting our Rahman, our Rahim, and others Askar, that we are not meant to be
Hmm.
shouting.
Yeah, like I
That,
said,
that
you
was what
just have to block it out. You just have to disregard. Like, if you go into everything that they're saying, like they're saying this and they're saying that, obviously, you're not going to be able to follow your religion. So you just have to like block them. Don't listen to
again.
them.
Sorry,
Don't talk to them for
but you
asking them religious advice
um
and stuff.
yeah, but
Just they
something
do you
else
know that
added.
they're astray? So what they
In
know is
it was
completely
when I
wrong.
came. I was when I read the Quran actually.
Hmm.
I it was not the one translated by Rashad Khalifa I read. So it was when I was I kept on reading the easy one, the one that makes more sense to me. That was when I came across the submission to God alone. So do you know what really helped us in Rashad's own was he was the footnotes was really helping, was giving us highlights of what the verse was saying. I don't think you get what I'm saying. So it was giving us an highlight of what that verse really meant. So I think that was what really made us saw those points. The Quran, where the Quran about the ablution. After reading the English part, and it made the Quran easy for us to understand because the footnote really was pointing. This is what God meant by this, and so on and so forth. And again, I would like to. I don't know how you understood your own that Surah 4 verse 5 when God was talking about how to marry. How do you what was your own understanding on that part of the Quran? Like we can have 1, 2, 3, 4. If you think
Yeah,
is
so
blah
there's
blah
an
blah.
appendix. There's an appendix in the Quran. You have on the app also, right? That talks about polygamy. So you can go to that
Mhm.
appendix and read it. It's Appendix
But
30, titled
I'm
Polygamy.
talking about the likes of the Quran. Sorry.
Huh? Yeah, it talks about it. It explains it. The messenger. Have you read Appendix 30?
I think I might have read it back then.
No, you
It's
should
been a
read
long
it.
time.
You should definitely read it again because it answers your
I,
question.
you know why I don't because it's like why I stopped reading it is it's just like I think I'm it's like me following the hadith as well. Like when we talk
No,
about
no,
the
no, no.
hadith,
How can you say
they
that?
said
Because I mean, obviously, the messenger of the covenant was sent by God to allow us to, inform us to listen to Quran or read Quran alone, right? So follow Quran
yes.
alone. So why would he leave more things like hadith for us, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense. What he left is based on the Quran. Like if I'm telling you something now, what's the difference between me telling you something and the messenger telling you something? Both of us are talking from the Quran, right? If I'm telling you now something from the Quran, you're going to listen to me, right? God willing. But the
Mm-hmm.
same thing is the
Yeah.
same as long as you know that I'm talking from the Quran, right? So by
Yeah.
listening to anything I'm saying, it doesn't make it hadith, right? As long as what you're following is based on the Quran, doesn't matter who's saying it, if the messenger's saying it or another person saying it, or if it's in written form, or if it's live, or if it's in oral form, it doesn't matter. That's not hadith. Hadith are lies attributed to the Prophet, things that he didn't say, things that are against the Quran. That's what makes them horrendous, right? Those are lies attributed to the Prophet, they're lies attributed to God, they're things that contradict the Quran, they're things that tell you to follow the path of Satan. That's not based on Quran, right? But that is hadith.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
this is stuff that someone has written based on the Quran. A messenger of God has given us God's message based on the Quran. So that cannot be equated to hadith, right? That's a big misconception that
No. Yeah. I understand. I understand, but I'm only saying how would I put it? I've read those things then. I read everything then from A to Z.
right.
I read, but I just feel since I understand what the Quran is even saying itself, so I think
Sorry.
I said since I understand the English part of the Quran and I'm able to digest it, it's not that I read it once, I left it. I think I've read God willing, I've read the Quran more than from A to Z. Can't even count the numbers of times I've read it.
Hmm.
So I even listen. It has God has made it easy for us on the app. At times I'll just listen to the English part of the Quran. I play it and
Hmm.
listen to what God has been saying to us. The
Right.
messages. So
Yeah, you can. There's nothing wrong with following the appendices. In fact, like you're supposed to accept everything that the messenger has brought, right? So if you don't read what he has brought, whether it's in the appendix or the videos, like you're not taking, the best. You're not taking the most out of the blessing that God has given you. God has sent a messenger that is clarifying everything in simple words. So this information that is in the footnote, it's the same as the footnotes, right? I mean, if you read a footnote, you can read an appendix.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong.
I've read everything. It's not that I've read it. I read it. I read
Right.
everything.
But you read it a long time ago, but you said you stopped reading it because it would be the same as Hadith. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
addressing,
yeah.
right?
I read it. I read everything then, but
Yeah. So
it's just
just
that
definitely the one about the
like
marriage
I
is
see
important.
that it's digressing to some things like telling us history again. It's not things in the Quran. Like I can't remember. There's a part then I read, and I can't
No,
really remember.
everything he has
Yeah.
mentioned is based on the Quran. There's nothing outside of the
I
Quran. Like for example, age of 40, it's
yeah
mentioned in the Quran. Yes, all these
yes
things he's mentioned, they're in the Quran. They're in the Quran,
Inshallah.
but he's sent as a messenger to extract that information that God has given already in
That's
the
why,
Quran. It's
yeah.
already
That's
there.
why
Yes.
God calls
It
them,
goes
they're
hand to hand.
clarifying messengers, and we send you
Mhm.
clarifying warners, to clarify. And there's even a verse that says to clarify some of the matters in which you've previously disputed. So, I mean, even the questions you have now are like questions we've had. And I mean, we've had the Quran in front of us. They're answered and clarified for us. And it is God who explains the revelations however He wills, and He sends messengers to clear up these matters for us. Because obviously humans dispute them. This human says this about this one, and this human said, I mean, who's right? Well, imagine we have such a tremendous blessing to actually have God communicate with us through His messenger. So He sends His messenger to dispel and I mean to affirm the truth as well, and come with the miracles and come with the proof. The miracle of the 19 and all that. So I mean, it has to be. And I mean, people who are too arrogant. I've seen this happen to. I mean, to someone very close to me that, essentially, said the same, like, or tried to say the same thing. But it's just all ego. They're too egotistical to listen to another human being who happens to be a prophet or messenger. I mean, in our case, he was a messenger. And they wanna have their own truth. If the truth does not conform to their wishes, they're not satisfied. If it's not self-serving to the ego, they hate it, they reject it, and so that's why it's in our best interest when God sends a messenger to just say yes, sir. Be appreciative, and He'll open up our hearts when it comes with time. Because not everything in the beginning, even for me. Like with the age of 40, I was like one of the last things I'd like before completely understanding, with the messenger and stuff. But then when I saw the mathematical proofs, like I looked more into it and then really appreciated it and be like, okay, this is, this is definitely from God. And I mean, who the heck am I? I mean, God's the most merciful. Who the heck am I? Like, I don't even know what these people have done. Like, how can I sit here like, oh no, 38? But it was just a lack of understanding on my part. But that's why you have to kill the ego and submit. That's what it means to be submitter. Is it's you submit to God, because I mean we know we have this in us, and that's how we all got in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's a real blessing to have this, because I mean, not to have it would to be completely astray, in the sense where to have the miracle, and it's explained for us.
yeah. I understand. It's more. I understand everything, but it's just that it's not an easy task here. It's not an easy task. I have been disregarding all what they say, but Alhamdulillah, I'm happy I met the messenger of God in my lifetime. I'm grateful that I can understand everything he said.
You said you met the messenger in your lifetime?
Yes, now
Oh,
I met him. I'm in Rashad, not in the Rashad, the book, the Quran itself.
Oh,
that I was able.
you didn't
No,
actually meet him,
it's not.
right?
What you say?
I thought you said I'm happy that I met the messenger of the
No,
covenant in my
no.
lifetime.
I thought he said the same thing.
Yeah.
No,
No,
because
yeah, mashallah. That's
because
good.
that's why I said it's. I don't know why people don't. I've not come across. I don't know why we are not preaching. As in, it's not. Is it not? As in, I don't know. Is it that we can't talk about it publicly, like going online, going to their tafsir, making a tafsir about it, and see how people will.
Mhm.
Because I think mostly we have few people that come online to do this, unlike being out there, televised, and people watching, and if they are willing to listen,
Yeah,
they
so
can.
our studies are being broadcasted on YouTube right now and Facebook.
Yeah, but do you think?
Many
I mean,
channels.
if anybody's not interested in it, they won't view it. That's what I see. That's how I see
Of
it.
course, I mean, God is going to guide those people who are actually deserving of the message. They will find you. I mean, they'll
Do you
find
know? Do you know? I said
the
it might
message.
not be easy for them because assuming we're speaking Arabic now, it might draw them to hit like, oh, these are my people. But if we speak English now, telling them what you're doing contradicts what you're meant to do, they'll be like, come on, these people are they are chic. They can even stay with just say all kind of nonsense. That's what are these people following?
Yeah.
They got they,
So I had a question for John. Well, John, you mentioned this person at your work who was excited about you doing your contact prayer. What happened?
Yeah, um,
You're not excited anymore?
I sent him a Quran, the Quran PDF, and then, yeah, I mean, we talked about it and stuff, and God willing, I'll follow up with a text, after today, and then send him maybe, I forgot to give him a brochure. I actually had it in my vehicle, and then I forgot to give it to him before we left. But I mean, I can send him. I can.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, he's young. He's 25. I mean, I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess it's now I'm calling 25-year-olds young. It feels weird. But I mean, mashallah. But yeah, it's a fan. No, he's got he's I mean, he has a it's kind of like he's a good he seems like a good person. I mean, he's just has a lot on his plate, like as far as worldly stuff and matters and stuff, which is a big hurdle for most people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're being pulled in one direction, or and simultaneously, the enemy or Satan will try to pull you in another one. So,
Mm-hmm.
but no, I mean,
Right.
he's very.
Okay. No, for some reason I was asking because for some reason I thought that he's no longer interested or something.
No, I mean, he's shown interest. I mean, he was a Jehovah's Witness. He grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And,
Right.
but I mean, he even has like a little Hebrew tattoo he was showing me.
Mm-hmm.
But he, yeah, I mean, he doesn't really follow that. I mean, he believes in, he's not objecting to God alone. Like when I mentioned God, he didn't talk about Jesus either. He was more interested just in God. But I mean, he's still kind of like soul searching and stuff, in a sense. So I mean, may God guide him, and help us all. But
Great.
yeah, you can see he's looking, like he's kind of. No, I mean,
Yeah. So this morning, I'm not sure if you guys saw. This morning I was reading 1792. It talks about it's talking to the messenger of the covenant, saying talking about or unless you cause messes from the sky, you claim to fall on us, or unless you bring God and the angels before our eyes, right? And so the fact that it mentioned God's messenger claiming masses falling from the sky, specifically reminded me of the Apophis and thing, and I posted the verse, just shared the verse and the fact that it added up to be 19, and then Brother Salim shared this, if you added 1792 to 4 plus 13 plus 29, the date of the Apophis, it's a multiple of 19. Yeah, and
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really specific because it's like, speaking about masses from the sky. And then God's messenger of the covenant. I mean, that's literally what happened.
Yeah, because like he's the only one who actually, well, not the only one who claimed. I mean, because there were other masses from the sky falling, like for example on the people of Lot. But that was different, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that God doesn't need anybody. And we don't need anybody to come to submission. Like, it's not like we're dying to have more submitters. I mean, of course, it's credit for our soul, but the thing is, we're not begging people to come to submission, literally, because
I mean,
we know
actually
that.
put people off too.
Off
it's kind
too,
of
yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
there's no compulsion.
Yeah,
We
but the
simply
thing is,
deliver
it's
the message.
exactly, mashallah. So like, it's good for the people if they follow. If they don't follow, that's their loss. So it's like, yeah, you put the information out there for people, and then if they decide to not follow, then too bad for them.
Sister Sorgo said the voices are lagging.
Yeah. Yeah, so probably it's your internet connection.
Yeah. Man, it
Maybe
seems like
because-
Turkey doesn't have good internet. Like brother Jaffer's internet last time was good, but didn't he?
Oh, brother, it's really bad. You don't want to be here.
What part of Turkey is that? Not like Istanbul? Maybe not
No,
Istanbul.
no,
Because
not
Istanbul has
Istanbul.
good internet.
It's
Yeah. It's
Do
okay.
you
don't
know
have to
Van?
mention the name. No, I don't. I just know Istanbul and a few other places.
it's like 2 hours away with flight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
From
I have the same
Istanbul.
issue in Morocco too with the internet.
It's
Sometimes.
really bad, like Turkey become really hard to live at.
So that
to
definitely
live
means you
in.
can't play video games online then. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, when I came to the US, like all of a sudden I looked at my phone and it says 5G. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was 5G.
If this application is lagging,
4G.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
this application is lagging, you can't imagine when I'm watching videos.
Yeah, maybe y'all can
Oh, I
immigrate
see,
here
yeah.
before the smoke.
Yeah. God knows.
Oh, well, I'm not going to escape. If God is going to take my soul, He can take it.
Yeah, may God protect us. He'll
Yeah,
protect
may
you.
God
Protect,
Inshallah.
protect the believers.
But there's something, by the way. If someone's time hasn't come for death, he is not going to die, right? When the smoke comes. And
Yeah, he may not
the
die, but
Apophis.
yeah, but the thing is, like, people will still suffer a lot.
Yeah. The submitters. What about? Well, actually, someone told me that God is going to protect submitters.
Yeah, I mean, God is going to protect submitters, but the thing is, like, for example, like God told Noah to make the ark and leave right? And his
Yeah,
son
yeah.
said, no, I'll seek refuge on this hill, right?
Oh, yeah.
But so it's like they had to do physical preparation too, you know. I mean, God does save us, you know, but that's God's way of saving you. And then you have the example of Lot, for example. He was asked to leave with his wife before he was asked to leave with his people, not wife. Well, but his wife decided to stay, and his wife was annihilated, right?
Yeah, she looked back too.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the thing is that God is, giving us this information so we can use it for ourselves and protect ourselves. But the thing is, like, let's say, if I tell you, hey, there's a bomb in your house, are you gonna stay there or are you gonna leave? You're gonna be like, no, God is gonna protect me.
No, 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 no.
That's God
No,
protecting
we
you by
have
telling you to
minds.
leave.
Come on. Oh, no, we have minds. But if the smoke is going to come and the apophis is going to happen, what can I do?
Well,
Where
the thing
shall
is,
I
you're
escape?
in Turkey. It's
I am
not gonna.
already in Turkey.
It's
But
not. But
it's
Turkey is not part of the Middle East.
Yeah, Turkey's pretty
yeah,
far
but
away.
it's kind of near.
Yeah, it is near. That's true. But it's not. It's not gonna get directly hit by the apophis. Like when the apophis hits, like the Messenger of the Covenant described, like everything in 100-mile radius is gonna get vaporized from the heat, right? So, but anything outside of that is gonna be pretty much everywhere in the world is gonna be covered in smoke. So it's gonna
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
same in Turkey, same everywhere else. Like in a day or two, like Turkey may be the first country to get the effects, but pretty soon it's gonna be all over the world. Like in a couple of hours, maybe, or 12 hours or so. I mean, the rest of the world is gonna be covered, also, right? So,
Yeah, I love God's justice.
but the thing is, like even in Turkey,
What's
like
up?
you should like prepare, or submitters should prepare, because like for example, like if you knew that COVID was gonna hit at a certain time, I mean, you would have prepared for yourself, like provisions and whatever you needed. But this is gonna be much bigger than that, right? So the people should prepare,
Yeah.
especially with COVID, for example, like the air was not poisonously polluted, but with the apophis, it's going to be very toxic, right? You will not be able to go outside and stuff. And if there's smoke, if the smoke comes into you definitely don't want to breathe the smoke, right? That obviously, like, you don't want to breathe the smoke unless you want to have complications. So that's something that I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that God is letting us know that we need to protect ourselves, right? I mean, if the smoke is everywhere around you for a few months, imagine
Yeah,
like
to prepare.
how God to protect us. Like, I mean, God is not going to put like an invisible barrier. I mean, He can, not to say that He can, but He has a system. He has given us things to protect us. So like proper masks and stuff like that. I mean, those are things that I think we can prepare ahead of time, right? To protect ourselves.
Also, those for listening too. Loads of vitamin C, N-acetylcysteine, and then they also have a sinus and lung health formulation. Like I think I mentioned it before, like that were given to people affected by the California's fires. Like they would get smoke inhalation damage. This stuff could help you. So I mean, these are. Yeah, because I mean, imagine being able to prepare with specific provisions. I mean, like we're talking about, like food, water, mask, and then also stuff to help rejuvenate the body. I mean, I've taken this stuff for myself personally. That's why I'm talking about it, and I've noticed definitely a notable positive effect by God's leave. I mean, this stuff only works by God's leave. I mean, because we know He's controlling every atom, so that includes the atom and these vitamins and herbs and stuff. That even doctors will tell you this stuff is good. But imagine like these things will be bought up quickly. The food, the water. The first day the asteroid hits, I would just imagine the amount of traffic. Like you could probably make it
Mhm.
quicker to the store on foot. Like the stores are gonna be empty like that. And so if you don't, I mean, if you only have a month, I mean, most people I would say maybe have like 4 to 7 days worth of food. Then they're gonna
Mhm.
pretty much be starving at that point. I mean, even
Mhm.
water. I mean,
Mhm.
they're relying on our water system to continue flowing. I mean, because the infrastructure could be shut down. So yeah, there's gonna be like serious suffering, and I mean, but I mean, it's a huge thing to know and prepare beforehand. Because I mean, if we'll have maybe just to be safe, like a year's worth of provisions for 2 months, of course, but better to be prepared than not in that sense.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's gonna be it's a real blessing. I mean, this is like we've been talking about, like Suleiman's mentioned. Like, I mean, it's to be, uh, we're given examples. Like it was just mentioned earlier
Yeah.
with Noah, and with Lot. And I mean, Noah brought his livestock and brought provisions with him, and then I mean, his son that was too arrogant to, I mean, even during the flood. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of time. 4 years it will come by quickly, of course, but I mean, in a sense, like, it's still plenty enough time to,
Time, inshallah.
logistically plan
Mashallah.
and stock,
Mhm.
Mashallah.
Well, the time goes so fast.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
thank God.
like
I mean,
really.
imagine, like, imagine this happening like 3 months or even 6 months
Oh,
before. It's like, oh my, we'd be scrambling. I mean, inshallah, we could still be helped, but I mean, God is the most
inshallah,
kind
inshallah.
for informing us. But and I
Well,
mean,
that's the
also more
truth that we
time.
are going to.
Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Yeah, well, go on, brother.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, that's the truth that we are going to need so much vitamins, right? Especially vitamin D and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Vitamin
Uh,
D3. Right. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like because we won't be seeing the sun,
Uh huh.
like we
Right.
won't be able to have the vitamin D.
Yes.
Um, Also, I was about to say something. Um, oh my God. I'm trying to remember, kind of.
Something about the smoke?
Yeah, it was something about the smoke, but like, you know how I'm, brother? I make so many questions in my mind, and I forget some of them.
Mhm.
Um, what was that?
Yeah, I mean, while you're thinking about your question, I just want to say that,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, really, I mean, thinking about the fact that, God is so merciful that, He has given us a lot of time to prepare. Like, imagine, like, we could find out a few months before, then we would be in a panic too. But even then, it would be manageable, God willing.
Yeah.
But maybe not for some people, right?
Yeah,
And
even that would still be good. Like, at least we know,
yeah,
but yeah, it
yeah.
would. I mean, also, like we've been talking about striving in these next 4
Hmm.
years,
Yeah,
doing as
exactly.
much as
Yes.
possible.
That's, I think, also one of the bigger reasons too,
Hmm.
God willing, for us, so we can strive as much as we can during this time, make the best out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the world's gonna be changed like pretty much forever.
Hmm.
Like, got in the long run. I mean, for the good.
Hmm.
Because I mean, even if like how some people may revert. I mean, there's still gonna be a lot of God willing, genuine submitters that
Submitters, right?
that don't revert.
Mm-hmm.
after the retribution is relieved.
Mm-hmm. True.
Um. Oh yeah, I remembered. So is it obvious that how long will it take until the smoke goes away, like
The messenger
disappears?
of the covenant said it's gonna be take. I mean, the smoke is gonna cover it for at least. It's gonna obscure the sun for at least a few months.
Uh,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, though, correct me, please, brother. I I think I read something in Quran, or it was no, no, yeah, it was in Quran. It was saying that when people gets better, like remembers God, God is going to like make it like better to them. Like God is going to make it easier for them, like slowly, like when the smoke comes.
Yeah, so God says that they implore God that, we're believers, leave this retribution for a while, leave this retribution from us, and God says, we will, I'm paraphrasing, so we will relieve it for a while, God says, and they will soon revert, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so, but the thing is that it's gonna take its time, obviously, right? I mean, people are not gonna instantly turn into believers, you know? I mean, people are gonna have to face it first
Mm.
and go through it, and during that time, like, people will be searching, and God knows, how much time the world needs, and what these people deserved also, who were gonna die within that time and stuff, so everything has to take its time. So I mean, but even scientifically, if you have such a catastrophe and all these ashes spread everywhere in the world, it's gonna take a lot of time for it to settle, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we're talking about an asteroid. I mean, I still can't believe
exactly.
it.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Yeah.
Praise God.
MashaAllah. Oh,
What happened?
there's a
Yeah,
mosquito.
what was that?
Oh, okay.
You got a mosquito?
I
Yeah,
was like, what was
it's the
that?
big one. It's the ones with the long
Oh,
legs.
those little
uh,
vampire, yeah, those vampire
Uh-huh.
mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
they're not mosquitoes. They're Johnny Longlegs.
Mosquitoes sound a little bit terrifying, to be
No, the
honest.
daddy long legs, those are those
Daddy Longlegs.
spiders.
Oh, I
Yeah.
said Johnny Longlegs.
Yeah, the daddy long legs are the spiders, but they're actually the most poisonous spider on Earth, but they can't harm us because they're
Because of
fangs.
their veins.
Yeah.
Right, brother?
But no, they do have, so yeah, they have those like flying ones that look like those that Suleiman's talking about, but they also have some huge, like, vampire type mosquitoes that actually hurt
Hmm.
when they bite you. I don't, maybe I don't know if it was one of those. But yeah, maybe if it was a really big one, it was probably the one that Suleiman's talking about. Because those little, I forget what they're.
Yeah, there's very very thin legs. They're
They're
very
just
long
like
legs.
dangling and stuff.
Yeah, but they don't. I
Yeah.
heard that they don't really bite.
No, not those.
They're just bigger, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's the little ones that bite, huh? More.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, also we have to think about not just the smoke, but all the diseases that are gonna spread everywhere around the world from lack of sun. I mean, sun kills. The reason why we have more cold and flu in the winter is because of the cold and lack of sunlight, right? All these things foster, and so we can imagine, like, uh, all the bacteria and all the diseases that are gonna be prevalent after the smoke hits, for that time. Yeah.
Yeah, even the early, like I was looking at the 1910s, 20s, 30s, and 40s, they used to have like people would commonly take vitamin D or D3 on the shelves, but then like the AMA, American Medical Association, changed the dosing to sound to make it like you'd be taking a lot, like to make it sound more scary. People wouldn't get sick that much just from supplementing, like just and I mean like like stuff I've read, like how good, like how many, I guess we don't take it for granted now, but yeah, how beneficial the sun is and how extremely important it is to get like exposure and what vitamin D3 does for even our immune system. But yeah, inshallah, like because it is amazing the time we live in. I mean, we can do our best to like make up for it, I guess somewhat. I mean, it's not the same as like getting true sunlight, because there are like the rays, like the certain wavelengths and stuff that are good for our eyes, and and the polarity and stuff like that lets us know when it's time for sleep and all that. But,
Sorry, brother John. Suleiman, brother, you were talking about bacteria and stuff. I couldn't hear you because it was lagging, so I quit and came back.
So yeah, I was saying that a lot of diseases are going to spread as a result. Also, not just the smoke,
Yeah. Got you. MashaAllah. Praise God.
Yeah, today somebody was asking me about the smoke again, and like, what do I think about what NASA has said? And I was telling them, I have nothing new here to add, but I was just, sharing. I'm just sharing. It's like, I told them that, of course, like, imagine what would happen if NASA told you that the smoke was going to hit. Like, how are the Arabs possibly going to be annihilated, I mean, they know it's going to happen at an exact date. Yeah, and exactly. They're just going to leave the country or go to space. Yeah. Yeah.
In the movie Don't Look Up, at the end of the movie, they were just escaping to this space.
Exactly. And just the people in the government and very rich people.
I thought did y'all see too? I don't know. I think I had mentioned it before, but did y'all see that golden calf that was floating, the golden statue of the calf that was floating through space at the end?
Yeah.
It was almost like it was like a little cryptic, but I just thought that was a little interesting too.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. Also, the funny thing was that the president forgot about her son.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody out for themselves,
Yeah.
I mean, people are so gullible. Like, I'm sorry if that offends anybody listening that blindly trust NASA. I mean, we should know. I mean, I can say that in this day and age, because I mean, we should know now with everything that has happened with COVID. I mean, that has been exploded with. I mean, just for example, vaccines and cancer and a lot of these other things. I mean, people are waking up on a massive scale. So for somebody to try to use I mean, if somebody's still looking and trying to understand, that's awesome. But if somebody is just obsessed with believing, I mean, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening. And I mean,
yeah, I mean, everything has its time. Like like CDC, for example. People trusted CDC so much. Like, how can CDC? CDC says it prevents AIDS, like circumcision,
Yeah.
And then when it came to COVID, like, they don't believe in CDC.
Yeah.
They have no problem not listening to CDC.
I mean, it's apathy, man. It's like people just wanna. Oh, let me just
Yeah,
listen. Let me just let me drink my beer, watch my football games, and oh, the government's gonna take care of me. You know, God bless America. You know, and it's like, come on, man. It's like wake up.
yeah, and they're not gonna when when they subhanallah when they see it, they're not gonna believe NASA no more.
Yeah,
They're gonna turn on NASA. I mean, they're gonna realize.
Mhm.
I mean, that nobody's really even probably gonna care to shift blame. Everybody's really is gonna just be
Right.
scrambling. Like, how do I? I mean, go back to our
yeah,
primal instinct, like just self-survival. You know. 'Cause, I mean, it's gonna be much worse than COVID. You know, if we think about it.
yeah. I mean, there was no issues with COVID. I mean, for some people, COVID was a blessing
You know.
in the sense of like so many things that happened. Like, but this is going to be something very serious.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
The only
don't,
thing
I don't
about COVID
remember
was just the
too much.
life, everything changed. In terms of people going to school, people going to work, okay, getting groceries, going outside. But this is much more serious.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of COVID. Like, I kind of do, but like, I don't know.
Oh.
I wasn't paying attention
Mm-hmm.
too much to
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, it was another. It was just weird.
Another dimension.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was like I was like in and out of like it didn't really like. I mean, I'd see it, but yeah, it's like I was
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, just like indifferent, but didn't really know what was going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like
Okay.
to have yeah, okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are no other comments or questions. God willing, we can conclude our study, huh?
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
All right. So thank you, Brother John, for leading the study. Thank you all for participating. God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.